Welcome to Sports Talk with your host, Johanna-Rosalye. I am joined tonight with my amazing host, Ed Cole. How are you? Happy Tuesday.
Good evening, Joanna. Happy Tuesday. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
Awesome. Awesome as usual. Always excited to do Inside Sports Talk and talk some sports because everything ranges. As we know in sports, from week to week, from minute to minute and second to second, there's always something new to talk about. So this is another jam-packed episode, so let's get into it. How about that? If I talk that
look at you switching all of that in.
If I talk that fast for the entire hour, wow, I'll be tired.
Please don't.
I won't.
Great to be back and talking some sports, bringing you some more stuff. Jam-packed show as always for an hour that will go by quickly, as we always know, in a blink of an eye. So we had a lot of action, Ed. We had the NFL draft happen over the weekend. Started on Thursday, Friday. What day was that?
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yes.
I'm like, what day are we in?
I know, right? I know, right?
Don't even ask me the time because I don't even know the time right now, pretty much at this moment. But yes, we had the NFL draft. We have the NBA playoffs. They're just around the corner. A few games left to play in the season. A lot of happening there as well, as always. So we'll be getting into that, giving you a little bit of a rundown there, and getting into a little bit of MLB as well. There's been a lot of news breaking over the last few days and even last hours, with a lot of things happening there. So I'm very, very excited.
Me too. Let's go ahead and get it started.
All right. Let's get it started. How about we just go ahead and go right into the NBA, and we have, I mentioned, NBA playoffs right around the corner. The tournament, the play-in tournament is also, it's what it's going to lead off with. Still a lot to be determined there. I mean, we have teams fighting for number one spots, and which we'll get into here a little bit here shortly, with those teams fighting. And it's just right now, it's anything can happen. As we talked in our last show, it's just all these positions, all these rankings, they're up for grabs.
Yes, they are. You look at the 7, 8, 9, and 10 teams in each conference. You look at the Eastern Conference with the Celtics number 7, the Hornets number 8, Pacers 9, and the hard-charging Washington Wizards coming up at number 10 with what Russell Westbrook has done. He's been nothing but a triple-double machine. They're only 5 games under 500, Joanna. They're coming on strong. And you look out west, number 7, Portland. Golden State's number 8, Memphis is number 9, and San Antonio's number 10. But Portland's a game behind the Lakers. The Lakers, the world champions, Joanna, they're in fear of dropping into number 7. If that happens, they'll be in the play-in tournament. The champs will be in the play-in tournament. And it's bad enough that they're going to miss LeBron James for the next 2 games because he re-aggravated his right ankle. So things aren't really rosy in Lakerland, even though they did have a big win the other night against Denver. That was a good pick-me-up win for them, but they're not where they really want to be at 37-28. Dallas is right at number 5. They have the same exact record, but they have the tiebreaker over the Lakers because of their head-to-head record this year. But this should be a crazy rush to the end of the season.
Definitely. We have the Phoenix Suns and Utah Jazz. Let's start out off with the Western Conference. Mm-hmm. We have them battling for number 1 right now. Phoenix Suns is at 1, just barely there. Utah Jazz just underneath them. The Suns right now are in a 5-game winning streak. They just have been nonstop. They have been wild. They are literally on fire. Chris Paul with his assist. We have Devin Booker, showing in everyone what type of player he is and actually being able to showcase who he is as a player. So, just to pretty much come back to what we've been talking about, last season and even over the last, several months, and actually seeing what the Suns are really made of, and actually making people not want to turn their heads the other way. They're actually, these Phoenix Suns are for real, as we've been talking about them. But we also have, we mentioned, we have Dallas, we have the Lakers that right now they're in, but anything can happen because they're right now just 1 game ahead of Portland, like you mentioned. So that can go any which way. We have just, very, very few games left in the season. So if it would end today, per se, as for the play-in tournament and going into the playoffs, the play-in tournament would be Memphis and San Antonio Spurs, Portland Trail Blazers, and Golden State Warriors. So, and then that would bring in the Lakers, that would bring in Utah, Denver, Dallas, Clippers, and the Phoenix Suns. Right now, we also have teams that are facing injuries, Ed. So, as you know, bringing that into the conversation, as far as the Western Conference, we have LeBron. He's out. Mm-hmm. So he's expected to be out a couple of games. He's older as well. So as you get older and, as we get older, we have injuries. It takes longer for recovery. So that's one of the things that we have with LeBron. Not as easy to bounce back from these injuries. We have, last night's game was the Lakers played against the Nuggets. So that was a seesaw game. It was going back and forth, very close. And you saw that you got to see without LeBron, the Lakers, they do need him. So what happens with the Lakers not having LeBron in the next couple of games at least?
It's just what happened in the time before when he hurt his ankle, when he was out those games up until he came back just recently before he reflared up his right ankle. Everybody has to come together and rally, and it's the next man up theory, just like it is in every sport. Every superstar or every athlete that goes down, if it's a major player like a LeBron James, it's on everybody else that's on the roster to step up and try to fill their role, play their part. Whether it's Anthony Davis with a huge block at the end of the game last night against the Denver Nuggets to seal a victory for the Lakers, a much needed, a desperation win that the Lakers needed. Otherwise, they're kind of spiraling out of control at only 9 games over 500, not where the world champions would like to be, but it's up to Anthony Davis and Kyle Kuzma and Andre Drummond and KCP, Alex Caruso, every one of these guys that play for the Lakers to step up. Until LeBron, he's going to be out Thursday and Friday, so he's going to miss the next couple of games. But the Lakers just have to continue to rally and play basketball because they're in this situation, and there's no getting out of it. They have to play basketball and continue to win. Otherwise, they may fall into that 7th seed, and they're in that play-in tournament somewhere they don't want to be.
Would you be surprised the Lakers not making it to the playoffs this year?
Yes. It'd be very surprising if they didn't. If they fell into that 7 seed, and if they played whoever the 8 seed would be, whoever it turns out to be at the end of the season, and they lose and they don't make it, that would be supremely disappointing for the Lakers if that would happen. Clearly, they don't want that to happen, but if it does, then that'd be a disappointing way to defend their championship.
Yeah, I wouldn't really be too surprised. I wouldn't take it as a shock because the Lakers have been having a season of which they have been struggling. So for me, it wouldn't come as a surprise. Probably for some, it would. We don't usually see back-to-back championship teams, make it in playoffs. Mm-hmm. Very rare do we see that. Golden State Warriors is one of those exceptions who has made that happen.
Yeah, it's very hard to do. You're right.
Mm-hmm. One of the things when we're listening to a sports show, I believe it was yesterday. One of the things is that, oh my gosh, I forgot where I was going to go with this, Ed.
I wish I could help you. I wish I knew where you were going to go.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I just went on a blank. I was like, I just don't know what to say right now.
And it's just, I know what to say. At least we can talk about the Phoenix Suns. Let's talk about a team that's red hot. Can we talk about the Suns? Talk about the hometown team?
Suns, sure. I'm sure that thought would come back. I was waiting for you to finish your sentence, and I totally spaced. I think
that's where you were going to go. You were going to go to the Phoenix Suns because they're blowing your mind as to how really well they're playing right now. 5 straight wins. They tied Utah the other night with a big 21 point win on Friday night here at Phoenix Suns Arena. They tied the Utah Jazz. Then they go to Oklahoma City on Sunday, get a victory. And then tonight they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in overtime. Johanna scored the first 15 points of overtime. They came out in overtime and just blasted the Cleveland Cavaliers, outscored them 20-4 in overtime and got that victory. CP3 had 16 assists, and the reigning Western Conference Player of the Week, Devin Booker, had 31 points tonight against Cleveland. What a great victory against a really game Cavaliers team. That's a good quality victory. And considering the Suns, 7 of their last 9 games, Johanna, are going to be on the road. So this is the ultimate rush for them to the playoffs. If they can survive all these road games, and they are in upright position. And this is also a great thing for the Suns. They've been relatively healthy all season long. Have they had a major injury like the Lakers have, or other teams that are contending for playoff spots, like the Sixers when Joel Embiid went out, or the Brooklyn Nets when you've got KD out one night, Kyrie Irving out one night, James Harden out one night, when the Milwaukee's got Giannis was out for 6 or 7 games consecutively. They've been really healthy all year. No major injuries, knock on wood.
Right. And then, we do have here coming up for the Phoenix Suns. They play the Hawks, Wednesday night. They play the Knicks 2 days from then. Then following that, they have another small break, which then they play the Lakers at home. So they have, these teams that it's all going to make a difference.
Sure.
Whether they win or lose. Following that, they have the Golden State Warriors. Then they play Portland, San Antonio back. Actually, no, that's where it ends. Excuse me. The last one would be against Portland Trailblazers on the 13th. So these are, dire games that they have to win, and it can go any which direction for any of these, pretty much any of these teams.
And you know what all those teams have in common, Johanna? They're all playoff contending teams right now. So there are no cake teams for the Phoenix Suns to play for the rest of the season for 65 for the last 7 games of the season. Yeah, it's going to be a tough run for them, but man, they've won 5 straight. Just looking at their record, 22-9 on the road, Joe. You know how hard it is to win on the road in the NBA, but the Suns are 22-9. I believe that's the best road record road record of any team in the National Basketball Association, and that is going to lend well for them come playoff time, because you're going to have to win on the road, clearly, to win a championship. You just can't win all your games at home and split on the road and expect to win a championship. You've got to go on the road and win tough playoff matchups, especially with fans are going to be let back in the building. So now the Suns know what it takes to win on the road, Joe. They've won 22 of 31 on the road. So that is going to lend really well for them going into the playoffs. And 47-18, how proud are you of this basketball team with everything that we've all suffered as Suns fans for the last decade, for the last 11 years since they made the playoffs? They are now number 1, tied with Utah in the Western Conference. They're going to make the playoffs. And this is a team that can make a run in the West. Can they not?
Yeah, definitely. They have everything, all those pieces that they had missing or they needed to put together. They finally have that, I think, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But yes, they can make it far. Hopefully, knock on wood. They make it. To a place that we haven't seen them in many years. But yeah, they've won 7 of their last 10 games. Once again, 5-game winning streak. Right now, they're the team to beat, and hopefully they can continue this stretch throughout the following week through the end of the season. And they can go ahead and keep that number 1 spot, because that is a team that you need to look out for and a team to beat. And it's not gonna, but it definitely is. Again, it's not gonna come easy to the Phoenix Suns.
Nope.
Of who they're facing over the next week, because, like you said, they are all playoff contending teams. Yes,
but I think that they clearly have the recipe for success that James Jones and Monty Williams and everyone in the front office for the Suns have brought this team. Again, for instance, tonight, scoring the first 15 points against the Cavaliers in Cleveland in overtime. Their bench scores 34 points. Frank Kaminsky has 11. Dario Saric has 7. Cam Johnson, 7. Cam Payne, 6 points, 5 assists for him. Javon Carter chips in with 3 points. And then we talked about Booker with 31 points. Chris Paul with 23 points, 16 assists. DeAndre Ayton with 15 points and 5 blocks as that young man continues to grow and evolve right in front of our very eyes. Mikal Bridges, 22 solid points and 3 blocks, 3 steals. So again, we talk about this word contributions. Everybody is stepping up for the Suns right now. And that is why they've won 5 straight. That is why they're on pace to hopefully win at least 50 games. They're at 47-18. They keep rolling. A 50 win plus season, playoff run, and hopefully a run to the NBA championship would be even sweeter, wouldn't it, Joe?
Yes, definitely. I'm trying not to say those words because I know
it's too early. Yeah, don't jinx it.
That. So yes, don't jinx that.
Don't jinx it.
You know how I am with things like that. So
yes.
Just needless to say, the Phoenix Suns right now in the conference, they're 27-10.
Yes.
So being that they're going to face a couple of those teams coming up here,